uh, my respected teacher, Professor Dr. Bahadur Shrestha, my colleagues, my friends, students, and the family of Martin Chautari, family members. I'm very pleased that I'm given some minutes to speak about the state of psychology in Nepal. And from the paper that was presented since this morning, it reflects some of the areas in which psychology is being developed or work are being developed. One is very practical or in the applied area, that was given by Jamana Shrestha, in which she talked about her experiences from the beginning of providing counseling services and so on. And also, especially in the research field, uh, Linda Chase, she's doing research work from the psychological approach, okay, ethnographic approach. But it is on psychological issue, and she talked about different types of methods she has used, and also about different kinds of issues that she has faced, and so on. This also reflects that in many ways the Nepali psychologists, when they do the research or try to write something about Nepalese issue, they face lots of issues, lots of problems, not exactly problems, lots of challenges. The challenges to develop certain frameworks so that they can work very effectively in order to explain the Nepalese issues, Nepalese problems, and so on. And the third paper was about provided by not Susan, Sanjay Shrestha, and it was a social issue. And we know very well, those who are psychology students, we know very well that most of the psychologists and different branches of psychology are concerned with not only day-to-day life, but also with different types of emerging social problems and social social issues. Okay, social issues, and that was reflected in a research conducted by Susan Shrestha. Okay, based on these, very briefly, I missed the presentation of Susan, but I hope that it must be very good to know about the development of psychology in Nepal since 1947. So, 1947. As Professor Shrestha has said that it was started in Trichandra College as a part of Patna University. And psychology itself was a part of philosophy. There is a subject called mental philosophy in which psychology is taught. So psychology started from a part of philosophy, and within 2011 or 2010, psychology has expanded in much more areas. This is because very recently, in the 1950s, 1990s, yes, military psychology was introduced, and also we know that in the health sector psychology is already introduced, and in the 90s and in the 21st century, yes, psychology was introduced in the CPDS, that is conflict and peace studies. And apart from that, there are other lots of branches, like in the educational faculty, in the management faculty, in the some parts of science, like in engineering sciences and so on. So I hope that Susan's presentation must have given you a very good idea about psychology, and especially I was very much it was very interesting presentation by Linda Chase especially she was looking about the folk theory or some kind of folk theory, right? Or local theory by which she can explain the typical Nepalese manifestations of distress or whatever the symptoms that is expressed by the patients when they are suffering from different types of problems, especially PTSD. And depression and anxiety is the major symptoms of PTSD, and these symptoms are being exhibited by these Bhutani refugee, and she was very much interested, and whatever she talked about, that was very interesting. Interesting in a sense that in Nepal, we need to develop Nepali psychology. Though it already exists, we have to pick it up and organize it so that whoever comes here, in order to understand Nepali psychology, once they start reading it, they can very easily can explain or understand Nepali psychology. If you have read the book by Dorbadur Bist, Fatalism and Development, some of the indications are already provided in that books, especially about what conceptual framework is very much suitable for Nepalese to understand Nepali behavior or Nepali psychology and so on. This was very good research work. I think she is working on it, ethno-psychological belief about, especially about the resilience. I hope that we can read that paper later on. And the other paper was Sanjay Shrestha, especially about public littering behavior. And somewhere in his presentation, he talked about Nepali culture don't have the knowledge of, especially about health and sanitation behavior or something like that. And also he was very much interested to develop how can we explain about that littering behavior and so on. And the explanation is to some extent, I think, if we start looking at the cognitive dissonance theory that is developed in the West to explain the Nepalese behavior, many times we will not have an adequate explanations about Nepali behavior. Because if you want to understand the littering behavior of Nepalese people, especially of the Kathmandu Valley or from the caste systems, we have we know about the concept of purity and pollution, and that is very much applicable, especially in that type of behavior. And that most of the people's behavior guided by the concept of purity and pollutions. If that explanation is included, then the explanation Sanjesh will provide it will be much better. And especially about Jamuna Shrestha. Jamuna Shrestha, her presentation was also very good. It was about the experiences she has about, especially about a simple person, okay, was very much interested in helping other people. When she started helping, how she knew about the counseling and what are the do's and don'ts of the counseling. And apart from that, she also explored and understood that there are lots of problems in Nepal, especially people facing different types of health problems, especially psychosocial problems. And she focused on two very interesting aspects. One is about the problem that is being faced by the women. We can say that is a silent suffering, or you can say social suffering. They suffer, but their self is made silence, okay? They cannot express it. And Jamuna Shrestha, she, in beautiful way, she explained that women, they are invisible, they have invisible self that cannot be seen by the male, or the male don't understand it. Her point was, women needs counseling, they should be encouraged. And she gained that experience while dealing with the clients and so on. And she also talked about, especially about the problem of counseling services in the rural areas. My point as my experience as a teacher and working in the counseling area, it tells that when we were around 1980s, there was already some kind of clinics in which counseling services was provided. And also later on, it was Richmond. Richmond Fellowship Center. That fellowship center started 1 year's psychosocial counseling program, but it only lasted for 1 year. And later on, when CBIT became very much involved in providing services, medical services, and later on they realized that simply providing medical services is not sufficient. They started asking for psychological or counseling services. Then formally, the Nepali psychologist started working as a counselor or psychologist in different NGOs. And CBIT also established. CBIT also run postgraduate diploma courses for 1 year. Then it is stopped. But in between periods, there were lots of academic activities and research activities that is going on in Nepal, especially through Tribhuvan University. And let me remind you that Tribhuvan University is the only one university where psychology as a major subject is taught. It has bachelor level, postgraduate diploma level, master level, MPhil and PhD. And many people, the lay people, they say that psychology, as Susan has said, it's a women's subject or something like that, because most of the people, they don't know. Even the central department exists in the Tribhuvan University. The reality is that from the beginning, when master level was developed, the teachers, they only enrolled maximum of 30 students, because the students have to go for the intern, and 30 students was sufficient, right, sir? And that continued. But most of the disciplines, professors of other disciplines, they started talking, even the dean and other, yes, they started talking that psychology is a small department and it has very small students, number of students and so on. So when I became the department head at the central department, what I did was, from the medical sector also, yes, enrollment, or those who are interested to study in psychology from science and medicine, it was open. It was open earlier also, but last year it was around 75 students, and this year we target for 100 students, but it's nearly 80. If we open other faculties also, like social sciences, management and educations, there will be, my guess is 500 to 700 students will be in psychology. So psychology has no problem with the students. What is the problem is that we have to provide, as Professor Shasta has said, adequate skills and knowledge. Knowledge that is already provided, but from the new course we are very much serious providing the skills to the students. But the problem, okay, lastly, we have been thinking, and I've been thinking about what psychology, where psychology should move. There is always choices for any disciplines, and professionals who are involved in the disciplines, they have to select one choices. The choice is whether to make psychology as a problem-solving discipline or puzzle-solving disciplines. And since the beginning, we have been trying to make it problem-solving discipline. This is because, like in almost all the developing countries, those disciplines have thrived, which has been very relevant to socio-cultural context and the developments of the nations. The story of sociology and anthropology is same, because it has been very relevant with the national development. As a result, it's very popular. Psychology, though it is also like it has introduced clinical psychology and try to be very relevant, But the problem is that despite the fact that there are even now around 70-75 lakh of people suffering from mental health problems, still there are very few mental health professionals. And still it is not well recognized. So even clinical psychology is introduced, it is facing lots of problems. Problems of not being able to accommodate themselves in different areas because they are not wanted. Wanted in a sense that as compared to medical treatment, psychological treatment is different. So they want quick relief, right? Within a short time they want relief. That is not possible. But since 1990, when CEBIT started working, what happened is that, and especially in 1996, when in the WHO the paper was presented, especially about the case of Africa, where it was strongly recommended that psychosocial services for the children and women is very necessary. From that period, in Nepal also, it has been recommended that wherever the NGOs are working, especially with the women and children, psychologists or the counselor are very important. As a result, within 10 years, there are lots of counselors and lots of psychologists who are engaged in different skill developing field or engage in service providing activities. And in the research activities also, yes, there are some activities. It is not necessary that psychologists should always do the research on psychological issue, because we now know that it's an interdisciplinary approach. Even sociologists, anthropologists, economists are from the health sectors, from the nursing sector, from the psychology, they are doing on psychological issue. What is important is accumulation of knowledge, and that accumulation of knowledge, especially, it is accumulating, and from these knowledges, yes, we can now, at least in a partial way, develop a picture of Nepali and their situations, especially their psychological portrait. Thank you.